हेलो नमस्कार। खुश रहो बच्चों। आई एम जेवियन डॉक्टर शाहनवाज आलम, असिस्टेंट प्रोफेसर of Jyoti Vidyapeeth Women's University, Jaipur. Today we discuss about the concept of research problem and their technique involved in defining a research problem. First of all, we arise the question, what does it mean when he or she want to define a research problem? The answer may be that one want to state the problem along with the bond with which it is to be studied. In defining a research problem involves the task of laying down the boundaries within which a researcher shall study the problem with predetermined objective in view. How to define a research problem is undoubtedly a hard task. However, it is a task that must be tackled intelligently to avoid the some difficult research operations. The unusual approach is to researcher should himself pose questions and set up technique and procedure for throwing light on the formulating and defining a research problem or in the light of objective research. But such a approach generally does not pursue defining the result because the questions phases in such a fashion is usually a broad general terms as such may not be in a form suitable for testing. Defining a research problem is properly and clearly is crucial parts of the research study and must in no case be accomplished hurriedly. However, in practice, this is a frequently overlooked, which cause a lots of problem later on. Hence, the research problem should be defined in systematic manner, given due weightage to all relating points. The technique for the purpose involves the undertaking of the following step general one after others. A statement of the problem in general way, undertaking the nature of the problem, surveying the available literature, developing the understanding the nature of problem, and rephrasing the research problem into working positions. A brief description, all the points we can explain in detail. First, First of all, the problem should be started in the broad general way, keeping in the view either some practical concern or some specific intellectual's interest. For the purpose, the researcher must immerse himself thoroughly in subject matter concerning which he wishes to pose a problem. In case of social research, it is considered observation and such a researcher may undertake some sort of previous survey or what is often called pilot survey. Then the researcher can himself state the problem, or he can seek the guides of guide subject expertise and accomplish this task. Often the guide put forth of the problem in general terms, and it is then up to researcher to narrow it down and the face the problem in operational terms. In case there is some directive form of organizational authority, the problem then can be started accordingly. The problem started in broad general way may contain various result by full thinking and rethinking over the problem. At the same time, the feasibility of a particular solution has been considered, and then some should be kept view while starting the problem. Next, understanding the nature of the problem. The next step of defining the research problem is to understand its origin and nature clearly. The best way to understanding the problem is to discuss it with those who first raised in order to find out how the problem originally came about and with what objective name. If the researcher has started the problem himself, he should consider one against and all those points that induce him to make general statement concerning the problem for a better understanding of the nature of the problem involved. He can enter into discussion with those who have good knowledge of the problem concerning or similar other problem. The researcher should also keep in view the environment within which the problem is to be studied and understood. Next is surveying the available literature. All available literature concerning the problem at its hand must be necessarily to be surveying and examined before the definitions of a research problem is given. The means that the researcher must be as conversant with relevant theories in the field, reports and also other relevant literature. He must be devoted sufficient time reviewing of the research already undertaken of research related problems. This is done to find out what data and others material, if any, are available for operational purpose, knowing what data are available, then series to narrow the problem if itself as well as the techniques that might be used. This would also help a researcher to know if there are certain gaps in the theories or whether the existing theories applicable to the problem under the study are inconsistent with each other. Whether the finding of the difficult study do not follow the pattern consistent with the theories, exceptions, and so on. All these will enable to researcher to take a new stride in the field for further knowledge. He can move up starting from the existing premises. Study on related problem are useful for indicating the types of difficulties that may be present maybe present study as also the possible analytical shortcomings. At times, such study may also be suggest useful and even new line of approach to present problem. Next, developing idea through the discussion. Discussion Discussion concerning the problem often the pursue useful information. Various new idea can be developed through such an exercise. Hence, researcher must discuss his problem with his colleagues, expertise, guides, and others who have experience in the same area or working similar problem. This is quite often known the experience survey. People with rich experience are in position to lighten the researcher or different aspect of proposed study, and their advice to comment are usually invaluable to the researcher. They help him sharpen his focus of attention on a specific aspect within the field. Discussion with such persons should not only be confined to the formulations of a specific problem at hand, but should also be concerned with a general approach to given problem technique that might be used possible solutions. Next, rephasing the research problem. Finally, the research must seek to rephase the research problem into working positions. Once nature of the problem has been clearly understood, the environment within which the problem has got to be studied has been defined. Discuss over the problem have taken place, and available literature has been surveying and examined, rephasing the problem into analytical and operational terms is not difficult task. Through rephasing, the researcher puts the research problem in specific terms as possible so that it may become operationally valuable and may help in development of working hypotheses. In addition to what has been stated above, the following points must be observed while defining a research problem. Firstly, technical terms and words or phrases within a special meaning used to be a statement of the problem should be clearly defined. Basic assumptions or postulate relating to the research problem should be clearly stated. A straightforward statement of the value of the investigations. The criteria for the selecting problem should be provided. The suitability of the time periods and the source of data available must be also considered by the researcher in defining the problem. And next, the scope of the investigations or the limits within the problem is to be studied must be mentioned in defining a research problem. Thank you.